Hello, fellow Minecrafters. Gearsaw Studios here. Today, I'm going to show off 22W14A, the latest snapshot for Minecraft Java Edition, and it adds Mangrove Swamps. So, one of the things advertised during the Swamp update is finally added. However, before I begin, remember, please like and subscribe. It really helps me out. So, with that, let's investigate. So here we are on the changelog, and we can see they've added 4 big things: clay renewability, mangrove trees, mangrove swamps, and echo shards and the recovery compass, which are related. So clay renewability: placing mud above a block that has pointed dripstone underneath will turn the mud into clay, which means, say you don't have any good lush caves near you, or you extracted all the clay, now I have a way to get it anyways. Mangrove trees, well, they grow from mangrove papagules, sorry if I mispronounced that, and occasionally have bee nests on them. So, that's nice. But the big thing is the mangrove swamp, which is where swamps generate, but if it's too warm or too humid, then the mangrove swamp replaces them. So you can find bees and white frogs instead of orange frogs. And the 4 of the biomes coated in a supposedly thick layer of mud, but in reality, it's literally one thin. And you can also use the chest boat. So, of course, you can sail around in it because it has the similar terrain to a normal swamp, but it has all the big trees. Then, the recovery compass. And what it does is point to your last death in that dimension. So, it's crafted by 1 compass surrounded by 8 echo shards, which can be found in ancient cities. The Warden also gets angry at everything that bumps into it, instead of just players. Along with that, a lot of bug fixes have happened. So, yeah, there's a lot to cover. Immediately walking into this biome, I can tell this is a really good biome. It's very well designed, and the mangrove trees are probably the best tree to be added to Minecraft ever. It's definitely better than azaleas because they're bigger, although the leaves of the azalea are usually just more valuable. But another thing we can see is frogs. As we can see, there's a white frog right here, which means an easy way to get white frogs instead of going all the way to a savanna or a desert. Instead, you can find them in the mangrove swamps. Now, the normal swamps still exist, but they're exactly the same, so nothing of interest there. However, it would be nice if it was just a less dense version of this biome. Granted, this biome is very dense. Along with that, the watercolor, at first sight, it looks kind of like a normal swamp. It's nowhere near as muddy. So, we have this nice muted blue right here, which is incredibly nice to look at. So yeah, definitely a huge addition to builders, because the propagules, you can grab them off the tree, and if we get some good old bone meal, we can bring these along for the ride. Which means if we have some sort of garden, well, we can place these down. Although they do not work well with many other trees, still, they exist and they're amazing. Don't forget, you can plant them in water as well. Which means, finally, something we can do with water and trees. So, overall, very good. One other thing of note for these trees is they're very, very tall. They're definitely taller than normal jungle trees, and I believe they're also taller than tall birch trees when they get real tall. So, these at their maximum height are by far the tallest non-double tree in the game. However, they do have a bit of an advantage thanks to their tall roots. But still, we have tall trees, and it's a neat way to get vines. Just overall, very good. Now, I've searched quite a few chests in the ancient city, and this is about the 7th one, and this is the first one I found with echo shards, which means they are pretty rare. Now, this is what they look like, and they kind of just look like an amethyst shards, but skulk. Now, they're pretty rare, so you might have to raid multiple cities if you're planning to get one of those compasses. And another thing is, the Warden is no longer as easy to stop summoning, because what happens is now, if you break a streaker while it's summoning, or you run away, it still summons a Warden, which means there's no really easy cheese to it. However, still, about the Echo Shards, they're pretty rare, but over time you'll get enough of them considering how large ancient cities are. Just, you might only be able to get one in an entire ancient city, so don't be surprised if you have to raid multiple. However, you only need 8 for one, which means if we get a crafting table, we get a compass, and we can see the sprite right there, which is absolutely amazing. We can craft it. 1 compass, 8 echo shards, recovery compass, and it looks gorgeous. It looks like a skull compass, and it points to the location where you last died, which means if, say, I die, just like that, very simple, and I give myself a recovery compass, then it points to where I died, which is incredibly useful because, say, you die in a foreign location, you can find yourself pretty easily. However, it's not terribly useful considering all the risks you have to do to get to it, and the fact that it's off-centered if you look at the sprite very closely. But, yeah, it's a good addition, but it doesn't seem that useful. Speaking of the ancient cities, a couple of bugs have been fixed with them. Some structures just could not generate. There's unused structure files. However, due to me not knowing how to use a Java editor yet, I cannot properly show them off. But there's some new structures you might have not seen, particularly one in the entrance. Also, the strange puzzle thing I saw last time, it turns out there are ways to open it, but I just wasn't smart enough. It also now has a chance to generate a new type of center that has a golden apple instead of a carrot, which is one of the unused structures. The thing, though, is you can eat this. And, well, nothing happened now, but if you stand in a specific spot, because all the wool in the area, you can sometimes open this door. However, I cannot seem to find the correct spot. But trust me, there is a way to open it just by eating. I've successfully found the spot where you can get the door to open. So if you just eat the golden apple or golden carrot where you found it, then you can open the door, which is pretty neat, which means there's now a way to get in without breaking through anything now. This was pretty hard to figure out because it turns out there's wool everywhere, which means only specific spots work to get in. So that means you're going to have to figure out each unique solution. So it turns out every single ancient city has some way to open the lab. Just some are harder than others, such as the eating one, where you have to eat it in a very specific location. While this one, although a bit niche, all you have to do is stand on this chiseled piece of deep slate. So stand on it. Then it opens the door just like that. So there are new ways to get into the lab, but they were actually there before. Just the community had not found the ways to open them. The final things of note with the Deep Dark, and more specifically the Warden, is the Icebox Room, also known as the Warden Summoning Room, now has the trapdoor closed, making it even more Warden summoning. So, yeah, you're not escaping this one scot-free. However, with the Warden, it's now easier to aggro. So, I'm going to place down some Squids, and, oh no, it's already despawning. So, getting a new Warden right here, and some Squids. Squids are immobile, so how would it even get to it? However, if the Warden bonks into one of these, then it'll instantly aggro. So it just bonked into it, and you can see, just like that, it's getting angry. And you can see, it's not like the squid did anything. It just kind of sat there. But the Warden bonked into it, so yeah. Now, if we get some more lively mobs, we can further demonstrate this. Because, like that, it seems like it still got a little bit of trouble in doing this. But you can see it's definitely aggroing on these a lot easier. Because when it bonks into it, it gets angry. So yeah, the Warden's going to be slightly more effective at tracking down non-player entities. But, of course, it's still going to take a while. Alright, onto the clay renewability. So, during Minecon, they showed off the ability to turn mud into clay, making it renewable, since dirt is renewable by gravel being renewable, and coarse dirt existing, which can be tilled, which means you can turn that dirt into mud by using a water bottle. Then, if you place it like this, you can see it dries out. I have the random tick speed heavily cranked up for this, so that way I'm not here for 40 minutes. So this is at 100 times speed, well, actually 1,000, but still, this gives a pretty good demonstration. All of these random blocks still work, including bedrock, which means you can do it with anything, not just dripstone. Also, two extra things I forgot to cover. The Warden's not so sensitive to liquids anymore, no longer spontaneously flying into the air, and in the unlikely scenario that the Warden does die, well, you can see on the bottom right, there's a new subtitle for Skull Catalyst to extracting the souls, which is Skull Catalyst Blooms, so you can understand when it goes off. Strangely, nothing for the Shrieker yet. For one last showcase of the biome, I've made a world that is only Mangrove Swamp, and we can see it's just plain beautiful. Now, I think the mangrove trees should generate a little bit deeper in water and should not be as dense. But if my theories on what they're going to do to the normal swamp are correct, then this is okay. But overall, it's a very pretty biome, but they should make the mud thicker. But yeah, very good. I can't wait to set up a base here or see how the community just figures things out around this biome, because it's utterly beautiful. So, with that, it's the end of today's video. If you enjoyed this video, remember, please like and subscribe. It really helps me out. So, with that, take care. Gearsaw